It's time to find your favorite shoreline and get your feet wet. Whether you're targeting bonefish, permit, or tarpon on the flats, or even redfish, trout, and flounder on the beaches or in the inlets. We're gonna cover it all as we talk everything wading this week on the Florida Insider Fishing Report.
Welcome to the Florida Insider Fishing Report, presented by Yamaha.
Well, we're back with your favorite show of the week, the Florida Insider Fishing Report, and we're your hosts, Brie Gabrielle and Captain Tommy Derringer from our ALVEY Reels Northeast region, who is filling in for Rick today. Think you can help me keep everything together and talk about wading today, Tommy?
I think we can talk about wading. I can do both those things. I can keep it together, I hope.
I hope too. All right, well, let's bring Dave in on this conversation a bit and see what we'll be talking about over at the CCA workbench.
We're going to be talking about wading.
Keeping it together.
I think we've got enough stuff to talk about here. I mean, I can go on and on and on, and I probably will. And somebody's going to have to cut me off.
He's got a lot of stuff.
You will, and yes, exactly. Your workbench is full. All right, well, let's wade into the R&R Tackle Southeast region and see what Captain Jimbo Thomas has to say on the subject. Go for it, Jimbo.
Hey, Bree. Hey, Tommy. And hello, Dave. Now, I really haven't noticed a lot of people wade fishing here in the Southeast region. I think part of the reason is that the water gets so deep so fast. Now, most of the beaches throughout the region are fishing friendly, but you do want to get out there early before those beaches get too crowded. Now, one area in the Southeast region that is a common wade fishing spot is Matheson Hammock, which has a good wade fishing for bonefish, sea trout, and barracuda on both the north and south sides of the park. Then another good spot is off Hobie Beach on the Rickenbacker Causeway, where there are occasionally bonefish and tarpon caught. Now, light to medium spin or plug casting outfits using both live and artificial baits. Those are your standard setups for wade fishing. Now, our go-to inshore fish lately has been snook, and the snook fishing has been good throughout the Southeast region. Now, the fish, they've been schooled up in the inlets. They're also being caught around the piers and jetties and the lit bridges and docks of the ICW. Best baits are live pilchards, herring, mullet, and croakers, and any other good live bait will work if you don't have any of those. Now, they're also being caught on artificials like jigs, flare hawk jigs, and soft plastics, and swimming lures. Now, in the inlets, they've been biting the live baits drifted near the bottom on any tide. And when the water is murky, they've been biting throughout the day. When the water's been clear, the mornings and the evenings have been the best. And around the bridges and piers, the outgoing tide in the evening is where they are going to bite the best. Now, moving offshore, we've been catching dolphin pretty consistently in the last week. Most of the fish have been schoolies with an occasional larger fish mixed in. The last couple of days, we've been finding these dolphin in 500 to 1,500 feet of water, which is roughly 4 to 15 miles offshore. And most of these fish have been under birds, and there's been a ton of scattered grass out there. So the scattered grass has made it kind of hard to fish through, so we've been relying on the birds. Now, we found some really good pieces of floating debris. Some of those had fish, and some other pieces of debris looked like they should be loaded, and they had absolutely nothing. We are catching some of the fish on the troll. We're trolling the small lures and feathers and rig baits. And when we do find the fish and we get them on the troll, we start dropping back some live baits like live pilchards and cut baits to them. And that way we're getting the schoolies. Now, a lot of these dolphin have been on the short side, so we've been tagging and releasing the small ones. So if you happen to catch a dolphin with a tag in it, jot down the location, call in that number that is on there, and report it so it'll help in the science that they're trying to gather on these dolphins. Now, I got a photo here. This is Noah Wilkinson with his first ever mahi that he caught aboard the Thomas Flyer a few days ago. Future master angler there.
Yeah, man.
Now, there's also been a fairly decent sailfish bite going on in the last few days, most likely due to the good north current and the blue water that we've been seeing along the edge of the Gulf Stream. Now, since these water conditions are constantly changing, you might have to run either north or south in search of those good conditions, and it's changing. So from one day to the next, just look for that blue water, the north current. Now, you want to kite fish or drift live herrings, goggle eyes, sardines, or pilchards. Good depths are anywhere from 100 to 250 feet of water. And in those same areas, there's also been a few kings and even an occasional dolphin and quite a few bonitas caught in those same depths. Also a great idea to put a deep line down because we've been getting a few mutton snapper bites. You never know when you might get a grouper. And the late afternoon bite seems to be the best there.
Thanks, Jimbo. Here are the hot spots for the southeast region. Inshore, catch and release tarpon and snook in the inlets and off the beaches. Fishing in the evenings on both live and artificial baits. And then offshore, you're gonna head offshore in search of dolphin on the troll or with live and cut bait around grass patches, debris, and bird activity. That bird activity is always good.
It's always a good thing. All right, well, wading in the Fish Bites East region consists of one important thing, and if you find that thing, the wading world is your oyster, and that is legal parking. Indian River is gonna be your best bet, but let's see what Holiday has to say. Mike.
That's the truth, guys. You got to find a place to park, and if you park in places that don't have legal parking, you are going to lose your vehicle, and it's going to wreck your day. So we got some great places to wade in the East region, particularly in the Indian River, along Indian River Drive. Some of the better spots are at Walton Road or Midway Road. You can park at the old fort and cross the street, or walk around and get some access to the Indian River there. You can fish Herman's Bay on the island, or Bear Point. In any of those areas, you can just step into the water and fish tight to the shore, throwing plugs, drunk monkey or Houdini colored saltwater assassin shads. You can throw topwater plugs. You can just fish shrimp on a popping cork and do pretty well. You're going to catch snook, trout, and redfish. If there's grass there, you're going to get the trout. If there's sandy bottom and mangroves, you're going to get the snook and the redfish. You want to be on the water before the sun comes up. That's the coolest part of the day, and that's when the fish are most active this time of the year. The artificial bite will usually go until about 9 a.m. It'll go longer on the overcast days. Look for mullet schooling. Look for potholes to cast to, or drop-offs. Work the deeper edges of the drop-offs. Watch for fish that are crawling down the edge of the mangroves. A lot of the fish that you'll find wading are going to be tight to shore. A lot of guys wade out and throw out deeper, but a lot of the fish are inshore feeding, along the shoreline. I have a photo. Jason Arman, who runs a land-based fishing charter operation out of St. Lucie County, he sent in this shot of a nice snook that was client caught wading. They were wading the shoreline north of the power plant. And, if that angler was entered in the CCA Star Tournament, that might have been a winning entry. In fact, one of the tagged redfish in the CCA Star Tournament has been caught twice in Martin County in the last couple of weeks, and neither angler was registered in the tournament, so they missed out on winning a boat. So moving forward, with the new moon this weekend, we should see a pretty good push of snook into the inlets and out onto the beaches throughout the region. The Lake Worth and Juneau Pier are seeing their summer populations of big fish. This is a great time to grab a spinning rod or a fly rod, head to Hope Sound Wildlife Refuge or South Beach in Fort Pierce and just wade along the shore. Jupiter and Fort Pierce inlets have their, fish so far. Probably the best push of snook right now is in those inlets. But there are some numbers starting to show up around St. Lucie Inlet and over by Sailfish Point. On the beaches, you can throw anything that looks like a pilchard or a sardine. So copper juice colored saltwater assassin sea shad, or a polar fiber minnow fly, and that brownback or greenback will work. You can also bring a cast net and a bucket, catch your bait on the shore, put a hook in it, and either sight fish the snook that are swimming along in the trough, or just work the edges of the rock pile with that live bait. Average snook in my region is going to be 5 to 15 pounds, but there are some big ones out there as well. And here's a good example in this photo. Tanya Mills caught that 45-inch snook. That fish ate a live croaker. She was fishing the St. Lucie Inlet with Captain Ken Hudson.
Man, it's a big fish there. Tell us about the snapper, Mike.
Well, this week's new moon has the mangrove, the mutton, and the lane snapper chewing on the reefs in like 65 to 100 feet of water. In places like the Loran Tower Ledge, the 6-mile reef, the 65-foot reef off Fort Pierce. Off Jupiter, the bite's been out a little bit deeper, 85 to 95 feet of water. And the sharks have been really bad in Palm Beach County, so you want to ramp up your tackle to 40 to 60-pound gear just so you can get them in faster. The whole snapper bite has been current. As long as the current's moving north, the bite has been strong. If the current goes south or it dies, so does the bite. It's time to move on and do something different. You want to anchor up, excuse me, and chum with glass minnows or juvenile pilchards or chunks of sardines, or cigar minnows, whatever you can get. For the smaller snapper, you can use a pilchard or a cigar minnow or a Spanish sardine, either live or dead. But for the big muttons and mangroves, they're eating everything from bonita chunks to grunt plugs to redfins to live pinfish, even to some of the jigging spoons will work well. Average snapper is 3 to 8 pounds, but we're catching mangroves up to 15 pounds right now. And as long as we're on snapper, we'll move to the second species. This Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, red snapper are open to harvest in the East region. The bite's been good in 100 to 180 feet of water from Stewart north to Sebastian Inlet. Some of the better areas to fish include, excuse me, the 8 Mile Reef, the Donut, and the reef line west of the closed section of the Ocalina Bank off Fort Pierce. You'll also find some fish on the deeper artificial reefs like the Rankin, the Wickstrom, and the Mullifin. And the red snapper on your graph will mark like a Christmas tree. So once you find a fish, get up current of them, drop down anything from a squid to ballyhoo plugs, sardines, cigar minnows, threadfins. I've caught them on 10-inch mullet. Fish them on 40 to 60-pound braided line, 50-pound fluorocarbon leader, and 7/0 trocar circle hook, and just enough weight to hold bottom. Most of them are 5 to 10 pounds, but we get them up to about 15, 18 pounds right now.
Nice, Mike. How about a bass report?
Well, Lake Okeechobee is at 13 feet, so the key to success on Lake Okeechobee right now is finding that clear water. If you're not in the clear water, you're not catching fish. Start your day working the outside grass lines around Kings Bar or Harney Pond or the Monkey Box or Ritta Island. I was talking to Captain Nathan Shellen of OkeechobeeBassFishing.com. He said to fish the Kissimmee grass early with anything that looks like a shad, like a Bass Assassin 4-inch fork-tail shad in that Al Wife or Krister shad colors, or even a Die Dapper or Elite Shiner in the shad colors. Or you can also throw a topwater plug or an all-white spinnerbait with gold willow leaf blades. And then once that sun gets up, it's time to move to the eelgrass beds and fish a June bug-colored little tapper or an 8-inch worm, or you can pitch a shiner up on the edge of the grass. If you don't get the bite in 20 to 30 minutes, give that spot that long. If you don't get bit, you need to move to another area. The fish are in the clean water, they're ganged up in segments, and once you find a fish, your bite will improve. But if you're not getting them, you just need to move until you find fish. Right now, it's a 15 to 30 fish morning on Okeechobee.
That's awesome, Mike. Thank you so much. Here are the TH Marine hotspots for the East region. Inshore, sight fishing snook with a fly along the beaches of Hobie Sound Wildlife Refuge. Green and white or all white bait fish patterns. And then offshore, kingfish on the 6 Mile Reef, slow troll Spanish sardines or threadfins on a number 4 wire stinger rig.
All right, the Alto Equipment Keys region is in our sights next. But first, Dave has some waiting business to tend to with the Academy Sports and Outdoors rigs and techniques at the CCA workbench right here. What you gonna do?
Wow, you're not gonna have to say it now, Tommy, because she said it.
She just said
No, you're gonna have to say it.
Pressure's
We
on.
are. We're gonna be talking about wading.
Woohoo!
I like this thing. You ever had a boat?
Looks dangerous.
It's not. It's the best.
It's fun. We'll be back.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Contender Boats, always in the game. Fenwick. SiriusXM Marine. Weather, fishing mapping, entertainment. Penn. Let the battle begin. Stiffy. Innovators in shallow water performance. And Daiquiri Deck, Sarasota's favorite place to meet.
Your time on the water is precious. You return season after season to make unforgettable memories, fight a few fish, reconnect with friends, and recenter yourself. If you count on having this time, you need an outboard you can count on to power it. That's why boaters stay with Yamaha for the long run, for life. They know reliability starts here.
What started in the flats and bays has migrated offshore. GPS-guided trolling motor technology has moved to boats in the 35-plus foot class and allowed anchoring capabilities on most center consoles in any depth of water, from snook and redfish inshore to grouper and swordfish way out deep. Rodan Marine Systems has a GPS anchor to hold your vessel on location. Set it, forget it, catch more fish.
Every year, Noble Air Charter flies over 20,000 outdoorsmen and families just like you, economically, to over 300 Bahamian and Florida destinations. Noble Air Charter makes a substantial investment improving booking and aircraft route planning to create the most affordable and economical flight possible. And tomorrow, Noble Air's team will rise to the challenge to raise the bar yet again.
All right, Dave, we're here at the Academy Sports and Outdoors Rigs and Techniques at the CCA workbench here.
Correct.
We got a lot of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, you know, wading, I did a lot of wading because I didn't have a boat for a long time. So I did a lot of it. I really enjoy it. You get immersed into the environment, literally. You know,
you can be real stealthy.
Yes, you can see things you normally don't see in a boat, which is, you know, it's counterintuitive because you are a little lower in the, you know, closer to the water. But you hear things that you don't normally hear in the boat as well. So that's a really cool way to get with nature and get some fish because it's deadly effective. Now, when you're wading the flats, the first thing people always ask me, well, where do you start? Well, you want to start in a place where there's some good bottom. You know that there's some hard bottom that you can walk in. You don't want to be fighting mud all day. It's hard on you. You're probably not going to do that well because most muddy places aren't that great anyway. You know, you want some hard bottom with some nice grass on it. You can walk through grass. You don't want to walk in the mud. So you want a good pair of boots, you know. You want lively bottom, although, as well, with some stingrays in it, hopefully. If you see a couple stingrays, you might want to shuffle. But stingrays are a sign that this is a lively place.
That's true.
You know, when you're walking along the bottom and you see a bunch of stuff like, you know, bait and pinfish and little nudibranchs. You know, if you see a lot of stuff in the water, exactly, you know, hey, I'm in a good spot. This is a good place to start.
Sometimes they're nibbling on your leg.
Correct. You know, so you want to get some, if you're going to be out there, you want to carry some waterproof boxes, a nice backpack. You know, before in the day, we used to wear these little fanny pack type things, but now all the kids got these really cool waterproof backpacks and waterproof boxes, so you can carry a lot more stuff than we used to carry.
Right.
But at the same time, you know, you don't want to carry a whole lot of stuff because it gets heavy on you. And, you know, there's only 4 or 5, 6 maybe things that you really want to use during the day, especially, you know, when you're out there early in the morning or late in the evening. When you're out there, I like to use spinning reels for some things, bait casters for other things. Now, a bait caster is great if you want to throw heavier stuff with a topwater plug. That's an ALVEY orbiter. It's got like, you know, 20 pounds of drag. It's a great bait caster. It can cast a long way. And what
I love throwing a topwater with a bait caster.
It's great for topwaters with a bait caster. What's really good, you don't have to worry about winding slack line on when you're using the topwater plug with a bait caster. With a spinning reel, if you're chugging a chug bug or walking the dog with with a Berkeley Jaywalker, you start flopping on some loose line, and then you have a chance of throwing those wind knots. And the bait caster, you don't have to worry about that. The bad thing about a bait caster is if you're in a place where you want to cast a really light bait with just a hook in it, you know, a little bass assassin with weightless.
It's hard to do that with the bait caster.
It's hard to do
that. Much better with the spinning rod.
You're not going to make very long casts.
Right.
You can cast the crap out of that with a spinning reel, but with a bait caster, you know, you need heavier stuff. I got one of the little spinning reels, the ALVEY. I think that's a 60. I got a live bait rig on there, a good popping cork with a live shrimp. A lot of people fish those from a boat. They're also good when you're wading.
You can carry
along your shrimp or whatever, little croakers with you. One of these things, have it behind you as you're wading along. You can stop in a place and let a bait work for a long time while you stand there. You can even bring 2 rods.
Get a rod holder that
put
they make rod holders,
put one on your side and put the bait out there and continue to casting. Always try to bring a fellow with you as well. You know, I always say that a medical emergency when you're in 3 feet of water can be a big deal.
Right.
So, you know, always make sure you have a buddy with you. The stuff out there, you know, you could run into some problems sometimes. Now, when you're in the you're casting in the surf zone. you want to use some of the bigger soft plastic imitations, to catch snook and bigger fish, tarpon even, in the surf.
This looks just like the bait that's out there.
Exactly.
Right.
You're wanting to use those big, like a big gold spoon as well. All those, a bucktail jig, big bucktail jig works well. And when you're wanting to make long casts in the surf for pompanos and stuff like that, which we all want to do in Florida, you get out the big gun, the big ALVEY 65 Stealth with a stealth rod that's like 13 feet long. This thing will cast 100 yards.
You can get it just about anywhere you need to get it.
100 yards without even trying, with a 4-ounce weight. I mean, anybody can just pick this thing up and make really long casts, which is can be the big difference. I mean, sometimes the pompanos are in close, but most of the time it's the guy who can make that long
This is going to get you there.
Exactly.
All right, Dave.
So, get out there and get your feet wet.
That's right,
We
Brie.
can still keep going.
Get your feet wet.
Get your feet wet,
Love
Brie.
it, Dave. All right, let's check in with the Alto Equipment Keys region with Captain Randy Tao and see what is on the agenda for this weekend. Get us excited, Randy.
Hey, good evening, fish fans. Good evening, Tommy. Here in the Alta Equipment region, we really don't have much in the way of wading. We just don't have the shorelines and stuff where you can do that. Around some of the bridges, you might get your feet wet, but for the most part, we've got to have a boat in the Keys to do most of our fishing, and that's what a lot of the guys are doing right now. They're going offshore dolphin fishing. The dolphin bite has been very steady. Probably the nicest weekend this past 4th of July we've had in a long time, and everybody got in on it, from bay boats to even skiffs being out there, that you normally see on the flats, taking advantage of that calm weather. I talk about the 3 main ingredients to go dolphin fishing. You're going to need debris, birds, or weeds, and any of those 3 are going to be key to finding your dolphin. And a little tip, if you get in an area where you've got some weeds, get one of these R&R sabikis, like a number 6 I like to use, and catch the small jacks under the weeds. It won't take you long, and sometimes you catch them 6 at a time on the sabiki. Get that live bait. That really comes in handy right now. This time of year, the water gets hot, middle of the day especially, it gets real hard to get these fish to bite. Normally you're trolling with ballyhoo and you can get the job done, but as the day goes on, that live bait really makes the difference, and especially if you get into a bigger fish that has a little chip on its shoulders and doesn't want to play, sometimes that live bait's all the difference in the world. I've got a picture from Captain Davy Jones with his boat Munster Fishing out of the Square Grouper in Alamrata with his anglers Justin and Shane with a pair of slammers they caught over this nice weekend.
Definitely some slammers there, Randy. How about the inshore report?
Here we are in July. I love snook fishing and the snooker biting. I haven't been catching the real big ones like you and I did a few years ago, but they've been pretty consistent, and they've been some nice fish. Now, I fish a little different. I like live pinfish is my go-to bait this time of year, especially with a 1/4 ounce or a 3/8 ounce jig head. But some of the guys are finding plenty around the flats in front of Flamingo, and as long as that water clarity is clear enough to see these things, guys are sight fishing some really nice snook around the Flamingo area, especially when you have that incoming tide in the morning. And again, once that water starts falling midday or the afternoon, water temperature is pretty hot and there's not much on top of the flats. But I do have a photo of Luke Miller from Alabama with his backcountry snook he caught the other day.
Yeah, that's a pretty fish there, Randy. How about some tarpon?
We've had a lot of rain lately, and it's kind of picked up in the backcountry with some of the tarpon fishing. Now, it's not red hot where you can tarpon fish the entire day, but certainly if you get out there early in the morning, you're going to find fish rolling, you're going to find fish jumping, and those are some signs to look for. And you want to have a pinfish or a live mullet, something like that's going to work good, and the fly rod is working very well also. But it's a morning thing. Usually by about 10 o'clock it slows way down, and it'll pick up again late in the afternoon. Usually that last hour or two before the sun sets, they cooperate a little better as well. Captain Greg Poland, I've got a picture of him doing what he's been doing best lately, releasing a tarpon.
Nice, Ray. That's a perfect size, wouldn't you say?
I would say nice and easy. Nobody gets hurt.
Yeah, those big ones can hurt you, but that's a really fun size right there. Hey, Randy, I got a quick question for you on those tarpon. If I'm going in that backcountry with all this rain, the water's kind of dirty, what color plug or jerkbait would I want to throw at those tarpon?
Well, it's got to be dark. You want something purple or black is going to be your best colors, and it kind of sounds odd when you're throwing a dark colored lure in a muddy water, but that seems to be some of the best colors are the darker colors in that muddy water.
And that's the same thing with the flies like you were talking about, right?
Same thing, exactly.
All right, Randy. Thanks, man. Great information there. Here are the hot spots for the Keys region. Inshore, those tarpon we were just talking about, first thing in the morning till about 10 o'clock, and then fish again from 6 o'clock till dark for the best results. And offshore, dolphin. Start looking for birds, debris, and weed lines from 400 to 600 feet on the broken bottom south of Alligator Light.
That dolphin picture, they were lit.
Man, they were lit up. That looks fun.
And you're going to be in the Keys region
I am.
soon.
I know. I need to give Randy a call. I was down there a couple years ago with him, and we caught some huge snook.
You're going for lobster season, right? With the kids,
yes.
the fam?
Yep.
Jealous.
Yep.
I won't be there this year, but I'll be there next year.
I remember a year or two ago when this was reversed. You were going.
It was true. Very
giving
true.
it back to you a little bit.
All right. Well, coinciding with the annual Hemingway Days celebration, it's time to sign up for the Key West Marlin Tournament, July 21st through the 24th in Key West. With $50,000 in guaranteed cash prizes, registration is limited to the first 75 boats, so head on over to keywestmarlin.com to secure your spot. And you know, Tommy, we have a big CCA star announcement. 2 more tagged redfish were recaptured on the East Coast over the past weekend. One angler, being a registered youth CCA member from Flagler County, is winning the second salt marsh skiff decked out with Minn Kota trolling motor, Humminbird electronics, shallow water anchor, and 40 HP Yamaha sitting on a trailer. So congratulations, that is awesome.
That is.
All right, so anglers, you still need to be registered because there are 2 months of fishing and plenty of prizes left. So head to ccaflstar.com and get registered today.
That, you know, the second guy there, he's from right where I'm, right in that same area. So
yeah,
it's cool. Yeah, right down the road from me.
And
there's more left. So
yeah, and they're going to actually be on our show next week.
That's
so,
awesome. Congrats,
yeah, we're excited.
guys.
Excited to meet you guys. All right, our Reel Legends Southwest and ALVEY Reels Northeast region captains are getting you prepped for the waiting weekend ahead. So stay hooked, and we'll be right back. You excited?
I'm super
That's
excited.
you.
It's me.
Woo! In the flesh. Reel Legends buoy. Get it?
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Power Pole, Total Boat Control. Berkeley, your fish, our science. Bahio, fresh eyes for a rich life. Blue Water Outriggers, everything for your outdoor adventure. R&R Tackle, from our tackle box to yours. Florida Coast Equipment, Florida's largest Kubota dealer. Visit one of our 4 locations or online at floridacoasteq.com. And GARMIN, plot your paradise.
An entirely new species of extreme predator is moving offshore. The Yamaha 5.6-liter V8 XTO offshore outboard. Extreme big block thrust and power in the industry's first direct injection 4-stroke. Quiet, efficient, powerful, and proven Yamaha reliability. More than an outboard, it's a fully integrated power system. The all-new Yamaha V8 XTO offshore.
Reel Legends Performance Outfitters. All you need to feel comfortable on the water all day. Keeps you cool, dry, and protected from the sun. Reel Legends Performance Outfitters. Durable performance technology at an unbeatable value. Shop anytime. Go to ReelLegends.com to find a store near you. The only reel with over 100 years of heritage. ALVEY Sidecast reels allow you to cast over 150 yards with up to 900 yards of capacity. ALVEY's state-of-the-art drag and 22-inch retrieve rate per wind is perfect for any surf challenge. ALVEY reels are manufactured to best practice standards and are in fact so robust that the ALVEY also comes with a 10-year salt and sand warranty. For more information, go to alveus.com.
So guys, I'm really fortunate to be able to trailer my boats all over the country with my Ameritrail trailers, whether it's my Maverick, my Pathfinder, or my Contender. There's always some key things I do before I leave the house, whether I'm going right down the street or I'm traveling across the country to do a Sportsman's Adventure episode. So I thought it'd be really cool to share a checklist that I go through to maybe help you guys not have a problem on the side of the road. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna check all 4 tires, and including the spare 5 tires, to make sure that I have the right amount of pressure in all of the tires. The other thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna carry an actual plug-in kit just in case I run into a problem. Now, if I have to change a tire, guys, I make sure that I carry a thin wall socket because of the distance between the lug and the aluminum rim. If I don't have a thin wall socket, I can't get the 4-way on there. Once I broke those free, then I can certainly use the 4-way because the thickness of the 4-way prevents me from getting in there when they're snug and tight. The other thing we've done is we've taken 2 2x4s and put them together with wood screws. And what this allows us to do is that acts like a jack. So what we're gonna do is on the good tire, if this was the flat, we're gonna actually pull the good tire up, and now that actually jacks the trailer up for us. The other thing that we always make sure that we do is we make sure that all the lights are in good working condition. Make sure the flashers work, your running lights, your blinkers, your brake lights, as well as your tail lights. Make sure that all of that is working so that you don't have any problem at night. All of these things will be very helpful. You don't want to have a problem on the side of the road. A lot of us from Tampa and Orlando and all different locations travel to the Florida Keys. You go up to the Panhandle. Guys that are in Texas go to Louisiana. So make sure before you leave that you check everything. I'll give you a new tip too. There's a number here that says 2220. What that is that's the manufacturer date of the week of the tire that it was registered or made. The 22 is the 22nd week of the year 2020. You shouldn't have them more than 5 years. I recommend that you change them every 3 years, especially if they sit on the side of your house because sun will make them dry rot. So there's a couple cool points for you to make sure that your Ameritrail trailer is in good working order just like mine and you're ready for the next trip.
How nice of Rick to join us, right?
That was nice. And I tell you what, that's that little 2x4 trick. That's cool. I've not seen that. It's a great idea. And other stuff is
and
really
the numbers on the
too.
side of the tire. I didn't know that. Did
I
you
didn't
know
either.
Okay,
I did not
just
know
checking.
that. Lots of
All
good
right,
info
lots
there.
of good info.
Good
Thanks,
job,
Rick. All right, if waiting is in your future in the Real Legends Southwest region, Captain Ron Houston has just the tips you're going to need. So, Ronnie, talk to us.
Well, like always, Bree and guest Tommy, it's a pleasure being here, and it's great knowing that Dave Farrell's got everything under control there tonight. You know, when it comes to wading, there's really so much I could talk about, but I'm going to try to keep it simple. It can be done throughout the whole region all year round, but I specifically think it's better on your lower tide stages. I consider wintertime or early fall through winter, especially negative tides combined with full moons, and over here on the southwest side, north winds and northeast winds, which will make everything lower, and it's going to keep the fish trapped in troughs, potholes, or just off the edges. And an area that I think is highly recommended for doing that with the abundance of sandbars and flats, the northern end of the region from Ding Darling up to Gasparilla, West Wall, East Wall, and the Pine Island Sound is ideal for tailing reds, snook, and trout. You can either sight fish these fish and blind cast holes, especially where you might see diving birds, bait schools, and roaming mullet. And all it really takes is some light tackle, maybe 2,500 to 4,000 series reels, medium-sized 7-foot rods, from 10 to 20 pound braids, and you can basically search some of these areas where there is water with topwater walk the dog lures, a variety of twitch baits or suspending, and even floating baits. But then when it comes to the soft plastic shrimp, Texas rigged around a jig head, and paddle tails weighted and unweighted is really all you need to get started. You take some of these tips, like some of the great tips I just heard from Rick on that trailer, it'll get you started. Now still on the inshore side, the tarpon. You know, we've had recent rains here in the last couple of weeks, but with the recent rains and plenty of rain we've got with the recent tropical storm, feeder creeks right now from the Barron River to Buttonwood Bay, if you're looking for juvenile tarpon, that's a key place to go, especially if you have a boat. Now, if you don't have a boat, you want a canoe or kayak, US 41 from State Road 29 to 92. But up at the northern end of the region, the Myakka River, Tippecanoe Bay, Hog Island, and the Peace River, And Captain Josh Greer has been fishing some of those areas before the rains this storm, and he's telling me the fight has improved some. And what he's doing, he does a lot of fly. He's throwing dark-colored baitfish flies, also dark-colored jerk baits, and a variety of dark-colored paddle tails. But to the south, small topwater walk-the-dog lures, poppers and prop baits will catch these fish. Also, you can use a variety of flies, especially with the great freshwater flow we have right now. And I got a picture of a couple tarpon releases while fishing with Captain Josh Greer up in the northern end of the region. Now, on the offshore side, the red snappers. Captain Mike Avanon has been going out a little further than the past couple weeks through the red snapper opening. He's telling me right now the 140 to the 190-foot range is where he's been concentrating on. And he's still looking for fish as much as 50 feet off the bottom, but he's also trying to look for bait piles. He's fishing Gordon's Pass and south. Once you can combine these two patterns, catching limits has been a lot easier for him. If you drop down and the fish aren't biting, he says keep moving. Sooner or later, you will run into some nice fish. But the key for him, he's telling me, key has been moving. And he's simply using cut baits like squid, herring, cigar minnows. As well, you can also use live cigar minnows and pinfish. And I've got a picture of a couple CCA members that just recently went fishing with Mike with some nice red snappers. Final species is going to be the grouper, the gags and the reds. You know, it's a bite that's a little off the grid from Marco to Fort Myers Beach. You know, a bite that usually takes a day. We're actually spending the night out there, especially with the good weather. Guys are starting to run further, especially with the bigger boats, the bigger motors, like those new Yamaha XTO offshores. It's quite a run. The Pulley Ridge, getting good reports of a variety of fish, including porgies, red snappers, and quality-sized groupers. Now, the depths right now that I'm getting reports out of anywhere from 240 to 300, and the baits are generally going to be the same, cut baits, live baits. But on your way out, a little tip, guys have been telling me, if you run into some bonitas, nothing like some fresh cut bonita. They have been working well on all three of these fish. I got a couple nice pictures of a nice grouper, and somebody also recently just ran out with a full limit of all kinds of fish while getting out to the Pulley Ridge. Tropical storms pass, winds going to the east. It's going to be a good weekend of fishing. I'm heading offshore for the weekend.
Woo.
Nice, Ron. Well, have fun, man. Great report as always. Thank you. Here are the Caddy Can hotspots for the Southwest region. Inshore, redfish, Coon Key to Jack Daniels Key on the last half of the incoming tide, and then on the first half of the outgoing tide. You're going to want to fish the outer Gulf Islands. And then offshore, Permit, Carlos Pass to Boca Grande, fishing wrecks out to 25 miles using some live crabs.
He's going offshore.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
so
cool.
happy for him. That's going to be a fun
Good luck,
trip.
Ronnie.
All right, well, Tommy, everyone loves a good BOGO, and now through July 13th at Bell's stores, buy one Real Legends item and get a second one at 50% off, so you can stock up for the entire family. I will sign up for that BOGO, absolutely. You know what, you're lucky. It's time for Real Legends Trivia this week. Visit the Real Legends Facebook page this Friday to answer the trivia question with this week's theme being waiting, of course. The person who leaves the correct answer in the comments will win a Real Legends gift card.
Nice.
So are you ready for the question?
Yes.
All right.
What is it?
It is, what are the 4 major types of material used for waders? That's a good one.
It's a good one.
Do you know?
I don't think so.
I don't either. If you know, go leave it in the comment section. All right, and lucky us, because we have you in the studio today. So why don't we just jump right into your ALVEY Reels Northeast Region Wade Report, shall we?
That sounds good.
Okay.
We shall.
Ready
So,
to go.
you know what, Brie, we have some really cool and unique opportunities to wade in the ALVEY Sidecast Reels Northeast region. You know, the majority of our bottom is pretty muddy. We were talking about it with Dave. It can make wading a little difficult, but if you stay closer to the inlets where the bottom's a little sandier, the wade fishing, it can be really good. Now just make sure to wear proper foot protection. You know, we've got a ton of oysters and they're really about as sharp as a razor blade. You don't want to lose a toe or two. Now we do have one of the most unique and exciting ways to wade fish, and that's during what we call our flood tides. You know, when that tide gets up over about 5.5 feet, the water gets into the grassy marsh areas where those redfish, they usually can't get access to those areas on a regular high tide. The redfish they're gonna lose their minds over the crabs in the grass. Now those big tides happen a handful of times every year, mostly in the late summer and early fall, and it's a ton of fun and it's coming up here pretty soon. Now another way to fish in the region is in the surf or along the beaches at the inlets. That's when that ALVEY Sidecast reel that can really come into play. Making that extra long cast can make all the difference in getting your bait to the right spot, because a lot of time when you're wading, it's going to be a little deep to wade into range with a normal casting setup. Now there's sea trout, ladyfish, whiting, drum, redfish, all kinds of other species hanging in the surf, and inlets all summer long. Now I've got a picture here. This is my buddy Davisburg with a nice flood tide redfish he caught waiting just off the side of his skiff there. You know, it's also his birthday this weekend, so happy birthday, dude. Hope it's great.
Birthday shout out.
Now, staying inshore, you know, the tarpon bite, it's continued to be good this week throughout the region. I've had some great reports from the inlet all the way from where I am down in St. Augustine all the way up to Fernandina Beach. There's been some big fish on the beach, both in the bait pods and behind the shrimp boats. You know, early in the morning, also later in the afternoon, which is pretty much true with tarpon just about everywhere. It's been the most active with those tarpon feeding in the bait pods. Now, the shrimp boats have been dumping their bycatch mid-morning on most days. The inlets have also been holding some nice tarpon, mostly on that last of the outgoing tide and first part of the incoming. And then a large free-line live mullet's gonna work well for those inlet fish. The average size of our tarpon has been about 40 to 80 pounds, but some bigger fish out there as well. And I've got another picture here. This is about a 60-pound fish or so that my client hooked in the ICW last week. You know, I like to call that the green dragon.
You're not wrong.
Right? Kind of looks like that?
It really does.
So, moving offshore, you know, the kingfish bite continues this week throughout the region. The nearshore fish, they've been a little hit or miss, but most days you can find quite a few of those smaller kings on the reefs from about 4 to 10 miles out. Now the beach has been holding some bigger fish this week, especially in the last couple of days. I've seen a few fish in the 30-pound range come to the dock, maybe even a little bigger. Now, most anglers are going to be slow trolling live pogies or ribbon fish up top or on the bottom downrigger. 30 to 50 foot has been a good depth, but just be on the lookout for those concentrations of bait. That's where those kingfish are going to be hanging. Now also offshore in the region, got to talk about red snapper. You know, the season is open in our region this weekend. The red snapper, they're pretty much all over any kind of structure from about 80 foot and deeper. Just about any frozen bait's gonna work, but a live bait like a pinfish, a pogie, or even a grunt, it's probably gonna account for some of the bigger snappers. Cut bonita is also one of my personal favorites. If you can catch one on the way out, I would say definitely do that. And one of the biggest things this weekend is there's gonna be a ton of people out there. Try to give each other plenty of room. Be kind to your fellow snapper fishermen. And also be sure to double check all the regs because there's a lot of them before you go out there. And I've got one last picture here. This is Mallory Hendricks. She sent me this picture of a big red snapper that she caught during last year's snapper season. And I know her, her and her crew, they're gonna be catching quite a few just like that this weekend. They're always on those big fish.
Well, hey there, Mal. You know her.
You do?
Good job, girl. Yeah, she'll definitely be catching more this season.
She slays them. So, you know what? Here's the hot spots for the strike zone northeast region. Tarpon on the beach in the pogie pods and in inlets throughout the region, and then offshore red snapper season is this weekend. Fish the bottom or chum them up with any kind of frozen or live baits over any structure and 80 foot and deeper, and be kind to your fellow snapper fishermen. That's important.
Be kind, exactly. If someone wanted to book you strictly for wade fishing, do they just call me like, hey, let's go wade fishing? And you'd be like, okay, I'm down, or I'm in?
If the conditions allow for it. The flood tide stuff. Right. We do a lot of wading. We actually get out of the boat.
At the end of the summer.
Yeah, we're end of the summer, early fall. We get out in the grass. The bottom's kind of hard there. You're not going to lose a boot or a flip flop or whatever you have on, and you're not going to get a toe cut off at that point because it's mostly just nice sand and grass bottom.
Okay, well, good to know. And you know, Tommy, I see you have your NATO Bajíos on.
That's
we were talking about Bajíos earlier. Bajío sunglasses are definitely the new trend out there on the water this summer, and all you have to do to win a pair is enter in the hashtag MyBajío Summer Contest. Share a photo or video of your fishing paradise and tag and follow MyBajío and Bajío sunglasses. If your fishing spot is chosen, you'll win a free pair of shades and other Bajío gear. And you know, one winner will be chosen every Friday all summer long. So that's a lot of chances to win a new pair of shades.
And you want to win these because they're awesome. We're going to talk about them in a minute.
Okay, I was going to ask you some questions, but we'll just, leave that to Dave's expertise over there.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're taking you to the shores of the Real Legends Central East region next, but first, Dave has some Taco Marine new product duties at the CCA workbench.
I do. And I have a really good, this is a tea tree oil gel air purifier.
What?
I'm gonna let my truck give it a test.
I love tea tree oil.
I know.
How do you?
I do too, but my truck is
needs it.
Gonna crush it.
I pulled up and your doors were open and there was something wafting out of there.
It was a little damp. It was a little damp.
It's a little moist.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be back. Dave's moist.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Have fun out there. Penn, let the battle begin. Alta Equipment Company, where uptime matters. Ameritrail, load, launch, relax. Rodan, set it, forget it, catch more fish. Discover Crystal River, Florida. Bass Assassin and Saltwater Assassin. Best lures, period. And Maverick Boat Group, makers of premium boat brands Maverick, Hughes, Pathfinder, and Cobia.
Yamaha's reputation for saltwater reliability is driven by the 4.2-liter V6 Offshore's 97% reliability and overall performance. Reimagined with new advantages like built-in digital electric steering for incredible responsiveness and exhaust rerouting for more powerful reverse thrust. The legacy of the reliable Yamaha 4.2-liter V6 continues, now more refined and capable than ever. Yamaha, reliability starts here.
Whether you like to ride the wind, find your secret cove, or reel them in. Plot your paradise with GPS Map Series from GARMIN.
It's one of the most ancient forms of hide-and-seek known to man. And nobody knows how to play the fishing game better than the backcountry guides and offshore captains of the Florida Keys and Key West. Ready or not, here we come.
All right, Dave, we're here at the Taco Marine new products at the CCA workbench. We got some cool stuff. What do we got?
Well, you brought that lithium battery in here. It's a pretty cool thing from the battery warehouse, the lithium battery warehouse. That's a 36-volt, 60-amp-hour battery, Group 31 battery. It's the same size as a regular lead acid. You can take your 31 out and
drop this one right in.
Exactly. Not a funky size or anything. 3 to 5 times longer charge than a lead acid battery. And 2,000 cycles versus like 500 cycles.
Yeah,
you love that thing, right?
I love it, man. I'm running these batteries in my boats right now from Lithium Battery Warehouse, and I'll tell you what, it lasts longer. It charges super fast. I mean, it charges in no time.
That's key.
Right, and you can recharge it a bunch of times, like you said. It's going to recharge a bunch of times, a lot more than you would with AGM or a lead acid, and it's a lot lighter. That's probably one of the biggest things about this.
That's 38 pounds, and that takes away how many pounds from your boat?
Like 150, 60 pounds. I mean, you're basically
taking a whole other dude.
You're taking a dude out of the boat,
right.
basically. So that, especially on skips and bay boats where you're trying to get shallow, super important. And if you pair this with that power pole charge system,
it's crushing it.
Yeah, you barely ever have to plug it in. It's always staying charged.
Yeah, that one comes with a Bluetooth app as well. I know you used to not have to have a operating manual for batteries, but now you do. They can do so many cool things.
Right, you can check the voltage from your phone for these batteries, which is really neat.
And like you said, they don't decharge real slow. You're 100%, 100%, 100%, then you're down.
Right.
There's not.
Traditional batteries, once you get to about 50%, or even maybe even a little more than that, your trolling motor starts to slow down.
Right.
This won't do that. It's going to go all the way till it's zero. So.
LithiumBatteryWarehouse.com, you'll find those.
Great stuff. Yeah.
Next, we got some really cool sunglasses from BEALLS. Those are mine, actually. I just got them from the fellas. They were on back order. Now they're all around. They're big, bold for a big face like mine.
Good coverage.
Good coverage
very
on the
good
side.
Coverage, yep.
Exactly, and that's where, you know, those are going to be my fishing glasses, you know, because I like to have everything covered up. I wear a big mask, and I want my glasses to cover everything up, and those things do a great job. You know, there's got the fresh eye lenses in there.
Let me tell you about
Crush
the lenses.
the blue light.
Dave, I've been wearing these now for a few months on the boat, and let me tell you, my eyes at the end of the day, they're way more relaxed. I'm seeing more fish. They're truly incredible, the lenses on these things. And I carry an extra pair in the boat just to have people trying them on. And the reaction I get from people when they put them on, it's always, whoa.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, it's like seeing things in HD, so
right.
Very, very impressive.
Check out those NATOs from BEALLS.com. Next, we got some Tackle Titan foam lure holder from T&H Marine. You know, when you have a lot of lures on your boat like I do, you know, sometimes it's a hard time, you know, finding a place to put them. And especially if you're fishing in salt water and you go to change your lures off, you want a place to put them so that, you know, you can remember, hey, I got to rinse these off when I get back.
Right, the ones you've used. Sure.
Exactly. So that's a good thing for these. Also, you can just pack a ton of little rigs or lures on there with this replaceable foam. It's either black or white, these foam things, and they're 19 inch, they come in 18 inches, or the half size here, the 9-inch size. You can attach them anywhere with that.
Stick them wherever you want.
With that, actually that tape, they will send you a replacement tape if that wears out, which is very unlikely.
Right.
The double-sided tape of today is not like the double-sided tape of when I was a kid. When you put this stuff somewhere, it stays. So, you know, these are really cool. A really good way to organize your boat. So go to TH Marine and get some of those Tackle Titan foam lure holders. Last but not least, you know, I was mentioning my truck gets a little bit of an odor because it's an old truck.
I walked by your truck earlier.
Yeah, and I have some leaks in it, and, you know, water gets in there. So I really need something like this. This is a tea tree oil gel air purifier, and what it does is it's got a little insert in there. You screw that cap with the top off with the holes in it, and you take that insert out, and you screw that little cap back on there, and you let that sit in your truck, your RV, your camper, wherever your kitchen, whatever you need,
your kids'
bathroom,
right,
whatever you need to make
bathroom,
something smell a little better. And this thing will just sit there, and after about 3 months, you know, it'll shrink and shrink and shrink, and then turn turn black, and then you can get rid of it. But it uses genuine Australian teak tea tree oil, and smells really good. It eliminates musty odors, and you can use it anywhere. It actually fits in a cup holder in a car or an RV. So
they make some other products that do similar. I mean, they all work so good.
Yeah, exactly. Starbright also makes an odor eliminator that you put in your car, and
works really good.
Crushes it, and then you can keep this in there to keep things smelling good for a little long
I'm glad
haul.
you're going to smell good, Dave.
Well, the truck will. The truck will.
We will.
There's not much you can do about
maybe the tea tree oil will work on you.
Maybe.
But that's
that's what I use for my shampoo. I use the tea tree oil shampoo. It's very manly.
Very manly. All right, there's a lot to explore in the Real Legend Central East region, especially when you're wade fishing. So Captain Jim Ross, tell us what we if we fancy a bit of wading this weekend.
Well, I'll tell you, if you're wade fishing in the Central East region, you know, there are so many different species that you can find as you're out there wading around our lagoons and along our beaches. One of the things that you can do is you can wade around docks and mangroves and even spoil islands, and you can get speckled trout, snook, redfish, black drum, all kinds of different fish. Now, for those first three species, the trout, snook, and reds, artificial lures seem to work really good, and the Saltwater Assassin 5-inch shad rigged on a weedless worm hook is one of my favorites. That bait, you can skip it up under the docks and up under the mangroves, and you can get it way back in there where those big ones live. And that's key to catching a quality fish in my region, because they don't want to stay out by the outside edges a lot of times because they get picked off by the dolphin. So the farther you can get back in there, the better. Now, wade fishing along the beaches is really cool as well. You can get Spanish mackerel, bluefish, you can get snook out there, and even guys are even getting tarpon, sharks, a variety of things out there as well. In the Satellite Beach area, all the way down to Vero, is one of the better sections of my region to actually do your wade fishing in. You want to use croakers, pinfish, or jumbo shrimp. All three of those seem to work really well when you're wade fishing in my region. And then staying inshore, our snook bite has been pretty darn good. Even though the season's closed right now, there's tons of places that anglers can get out there and get these prized game fish. Inlets and jetties, mangrove edges, spoil islands. There's even some on our nearshore reefs right now. So it doesn't really matter. As long as you're within about 50 feet of water or less, you have a shot at catching a snook. And the main thing that you want to use is a live croaker, pinfish, or mahara. Inshore, you can also use some pilchards and mullet. And topwater plugs and that 4 to 5 inch saltwater sea shad or straight-tailed shad that I mentioned in the wading section, those are great baits to throw in our lagoons and backwaters. You want to look around right now because the snook are blasting on glass minnows and mullet first thing in the morning, and you want to get up there, and especially as we approach this new moon phase, you want to get up there, but not too close. If you stay within about a good cast distance of those fish, you're going to catch them. If you get too tight, you're not going to catch them. And most of our lagoon snook are running about 18 to 27 inches, and then our beach snook are ranging out to, some of them are getting up to 40 inches right now. I've got a picture of one of those jetty snook that we caught recently over at the Canaveral area.
Nice fish,
now,
Jim.
Swinging offshore, Tommy, you talked about the red snapper, and I was going to talk about red snapper, but I was like, you know what? We have so many red snapper in my region. Any piece of structure out there is going to hold them. So when you get out this weekend on that red snapper season, make sure that you don't forget about the mangrove snapper. They're holding on the reefs and wrecks as well. They're going to take a little more time to get than the red snapper are. The red snapper are super aggressive. So you're going to have to chum and chunk for these guys. Grunt heads, whole grunts, pilchards, sardine plugs, all work really good. If you can find some 3 to 5 inch pilchards, they work really good as well. But heavy chumming and chunking with bait fish is going to get those things up off the bottom. And use a light fluorocarbon leader, like a 25 to 30 pound test leader, and about a 2/0 size hook. You're going to catch some mangrove snapper that are going anywhere from 3, and some of them are upwards of 10 pounds right now. And then my last species is king mackerel. Now we had a really hot bite, then the water got cold and it just shut the bite down. A lot of guys saying, oh man, I can't really find any kingfish. But here's what's going to happen. That water's going to warm back up and the big smoker kings are going to come to the beach. So you're going to want to be fishing anywhere from about 20 foot of water out to about 45 or 50 feet around schools of pilchards, menhaden, blue runners, or some other kind of bait fish. Make sure you're marking bait fish in the area and you will find these big king mackerel that are coming in here. You can get any of those baits and slow troll them on a wire stinger rig. And like I said, you shouldn't have any problem getting hooked up as this water starts to warm back up from that last little cold spell we had. Right now, most of our fish are running about 15 to 20 pounds, but those big smokers are coming to the beach, and there's some of those fish are going to be 40 and even 50 pounds in my Real Legends region this week.
Thanks, Jim. The same thing's happening in our region. We're seeing some of those big smoker kingfish all on the beach.
I do have a picture too. I should have talked about that. That's your average beach fish you're going to find right now. We actually got some of these fish while we were casting plugs and casting live baits into bait pods. So there's a lot of good fish to be had out there right now.
I love his casual. Just got me.
Right,
fish.
just got him a fish.
Yeah, just gonna kind of hold it there.
Like this.
That's right.
Football status.
Jim, I saw some of those fish in the pogie pods a couple of days ago skyrocketing, and we were throwing plugs out. That's a lot of fun.
Oh, anytime they're fired up like that, and then you can throw artificials or you can throw live baits in there and feel it, you're reeling and you feel that hook up, man, there's nothing better than that. I'll tell you, Tommy, that's a great experience for you guys to get out there with Tommy and go do. We love doing it, and I know, Tommy, you do too.
Definitely, Jim. Thanks, man. Great report as always. Here are the Rodan Marine Systems hotspots for the Central East region. Inshore, speckled trout in the northern Mosquito Lagoon. Freeline live croakers or pigfish near grass patches, oyster bars, and rocky areas around spoil islands. And then offshore, mangrove snapper on the reefs and wrecks in 90 to 130 foot of water. Chum and chunk using grunt and sardine plugs for fish to 10 pounds. I love those big mangrove snapper. They're fun.
Oh yeah. What do you call them?
Mangoes.
Mangoes.
Mango. We got to do the mango
Mangoes.
tango.
Woohoo! All right. Well, Tommy, Real Legends has so many options when it comes to fishing apparel. I mean, your nice, just plain and simple
Very colorful.
performance, colorful gear. And then maternity gear. Look at this. Just kidding, it's not maternity. So if you like what we're wearing, text Insider to 97108 for a link to reallegends.com, where you will find these styles and so much more. All right, Maverick, the official shallow water skiff of CCA Florida, has stepped up in a big way. One lucky winner will take home a brand new Maverick 17 HPXS, complete with a 70 HP Yamaha motor, Rodan trolling motor, power pole, and custom Ameritrail trailer. So go to ccaflorida.org/Maverick to register, and one lucky winner will be selected July 22nd by none other than Captain Rick Murphy. himself. I know. All right, hang in there, anglers. We're seeing how the STARTRON Central West and Discover Crystal River Northwest regions are doing when we come back. So stay tuned, and we'll be here just admiring our real legends here.
Looking good.
And also, to keep up with everything fishing in Florida, make sure to head over to our website, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and to see new fishing adventures along with reports, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Captain Rick Murphy. We'll see you soon.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by STARTRON, cures and prevents ethanol fuel problems. ALVEY Reels, a better way to fish. Berkeley, your fish, our science. CCA Florida, the voice of recreational anglers for over 35 years. Diamond Fishing Products, our reputation is on the line. Murphy's Law Sport Fishing. Book your trip today at murphyslawsportfishing.com. And Strike Zone Fishing.
For more than 20 years, anglers everywhere have come to know one thing, that nothing says no to fish bites. We are the Fish Bites Nation, and this is your invitation. So grab some fish bites and get busy casting, because you can't join the nation without doing the catching. Ask for Fish Bites or Fish Bites Fight Club lures, or visit fishbites.com.
Come explore untouched Florida, where you'll step into holy sea cow and fish pristine waters where you'll reel in, whoa! Come discover Crystal River with exciting adventures and incredible surprises everywhere. From exhilarating river adventures to scalloping in the Gulf to delicious fish to fork cuisine, this is the place where you can relax into, Just a short drive from Tampa and Orlando is the amazing Discover Crystal River, Florida. Learn more at discovercrystalriverfl.com.
Service and reliability makes Alta Equipment the leader for all your construction equipment needs. With 7 locations across Florida and preferred brands like Volvo, Toro, TOC, Avant, and Rotec, Alta has the equipment to get the job done.
When I need equipment, I trust Alta.
From agriculture to landscape to construction, Alta has you covered. For sales, rentals, service, and parts, see your local Alta Equipment dealer today or call them at 844-GO-TO-ALTA.
Welcome back. Let's head straight into the STARTRON Central West region and see what our weekend of fishing will be like with Captain Jeff Page. Jeffrey, where you at? There you are.
I got my waders already on.
Yeah,
He's ready to go. He's ready, man.
I got my frog tog waders, and what's nice about these is a little built-in pack. You can put your fish bites in there, and your jig, maybe some extra leader, and you're ready to go. But you know what? In the STARTRON Central West region, we have lots of wade fishing. And you know, it goes back to probably 2004 or 5. I can't remember what year, but we filmed a Sportsman Adventure episode called Wintertime Wading, where Rick and I took a Maverick tunnel hole way back into Widdens Creek and got out and waded. And I mean, that's a rare thing for Rick to do, but he did it. And we caught all kinds of fish. I think some of that footage is from that. Going to the north a little bit, Manatee Avenue Bridge is a great place to start. I heard Jimbo talking about key places that you can get to without a boat. Manatee Avenue Bridge, you can go on the Gulf side or the mainland side, park your car and hop off the seawall and wade north, south, east, or west, and there's good grass flats all through there. And then if you keep going up north by the Skyway Bridge, all types of wading in McGill Bay, and then of course over by Fort DeSoto, probably some of the most pristine wading there is. A good thing to have is a pair of waders, and I've been through every kind. This pair is made by Frog Dog, and it's breathable, and they're not so hot as some of those neoprene waders. A good pair of booties to go over the stocking foot waders is important, and then you can have a little chest pack that you can keep extra tackle in, like leaders and scissors, stuff like that. I'm looking at some of the video right now, and you see I have the same chest pack that I have today. I've got some wading pictures tonight. First one is of myself with a nice red fish.
Looking
Then
good.
my second picture is of Mike, Big Daddy McDonald, and his son Dylan with a big old gator trout they got out wading in Sarasota Bay. And then my last photo is of the Wade Masters of our STARTRON Central West region, the Glunk brothers, Austin and Jake. And Jake, the one on the right, is also a master lure maker. He carves them all out of wood. And I wouldn't be surprised if a couple of those redfish right there weren't caught on some of Jake's lures.
Cool.
Staying inshore, the snook bite, Tommy. Oh, it's good to see you too, Tommy.
Good to see you.
Remains very consistent. And the neat thing, we have all these strong tides coming up this weekend. The storm is gone. The water didn't get too turned up. So the fish are really going to be on the feed. And that morning incoming tide is going to be hard to beat. All our inlets and passes are great places to start, or along the beaches. You can cast small white flies at the fish on the beaches, or if you're going to fish the inlets, it's a good idea to get a live well full of pilchards. I've got a snook photo tonight of Steve Hunter with his biggest snook to date. He caught that with Captain Griffin Deans of Slot Machine Charters out of the Manatee River. Moving offshore, red snapper. You know, this is the last week. Well, we're already over it now. But last week was the last week of snapper fishing in my region, and everybody had a great week when they could get out. 110 to 130 feet of water over just about any area of hard bottom. I heard Jimmy Ross talking about it. Live pinfish, live thread fins, even pilchards, they'll get the job done, and it's almost they become a nuisance. And my last species, red grouper, that bite has been very consistent all summer long. And the guys that want to bring home fillets, 130 to 170 feet of water are going to get you your bigger, larger red groupers. I've had reports some inside of that, but they've been just barely keepers. They're eating the frozen bait as good as a live bait, and a standard bottom rig will get her done. And my last photo is of a happy client. That's just all-American client right there with Captain Tim Noe of Gulf Coast Offshore Ventures.
He kind of matches the grouper there.
I'm just going to say that. I'm just going to say that, yeah.
Paige, good report, man. Good to see you. You're looking good with those waders on.
Thanks for giving us a good example.
I'm ready to go wading, Tommy.
I can tell. Thanks, man. Here are the daiquiri deck hotspots for the Central West region. Inshore speckled trout fish in and around the bait schools, holding on the 2 to 4 feet deep grass flats just inside New Pass and Anna Maria Pass with FISHBITES Fight Club white shrimp. And offshore, those red grouper fish holding on hard bottom areas in 110 to 130 foot of water. Use live pinfish or cut sardines on a standard bottom rig.
Jeff Page has such a chutzpah.
He does.
He really does.
He does.
I love it.
He brings it.
All right, let's plan our sneak attack in the Discover Crystal River Northwest region and see how Captain Jeff Hageman can give us some wade fishing tips. How's it looking over there, Hag?
Great. Wading's a great way to fish my region. Can be very stealthy, as everybody's talked about. Jeff was just talking about this too. A good pair of waders, wading boots, an old pair of sneakers is a must in our area. We have a lot of sharp rocks, a lot of oysters in our area, barnacles that can cut your feet. So protect your feet when you get out there doing that. Right now, wading along the beaches and passes is a great way to catch some snook right now. You want to fish parallel to the beach, right in that swash channel, or fish the passes. And the northern part of the region, in the wintertime especially, and even in the southern part of my region, on those super low negative tides, it's a great way to catch a lot of fish. Some places you got to use a kayak or a boat to get to, and get out of the boat and do some wading and get in these potholes that kind of traps all these fish on the super low tides, and it concentrates all the fish, so you're like fishing in a barrel. And it's a really neat way to get out there and do that. So spend a little time, learn your deeper holes on those lower tides, and you can catch a lot of fish wading. But staying on the inshore, snook along the beaches and passes like now, shell bars, Honeymoon Island, Three River Bar, and Claude Island are all producing great fish, as well as Johns Pass and Lyons Pass. Pinfish and sardines and grunts are the bait of choice, either on with a 30 pound or 40 pound fluorocarbon leader, 3/0, 5/0 throw car circle hook. Outgoing tide has been better than the incoming tide, but I'm catching them on both. Sometimes you need a little bit of lead if the tide gets moving a little harder. Up to a number 2 split shot is what most guys use, or a 1/2 ounce egg sinker. Average fish right now is averaging anywhere from 25 to 35 inches with the occasional big 40-plus inch fish mixed in. Moving offshore, Captain Rob Davenport of Big Nasty Charters out of St. Pete reports a great gag grouper bite right now. Bites heating up right now, and anywhere from 120 to 230 seems to be the place to be on small ledges, bait stacks, a knocker rig, or a standard bottom rig with 8 ounces of lead, 7/0 trail car circle hook with 80 to 100 pound fluorocarbon leader, depending on the bottom you're fishing. If you're fishing a little more structure, you might want to bump up that fluorocarbon a little bit. Right now, he also says they're eating dead bait over live bait, but have some live baits in the well just in case. And if the bite slows, you can also drop down that vertical jig. And I've got a great photo here from Captain Rob of a nice gag grouper.
With his hat on. I love it, saltwater cowboy. Get it. Sorry, go ahead.
Also from Captain Rob, the red snapper bite is really good right now in that 150 to 200 feet of water. Big red snapper are going to be on the higher part of the snapper on the column on your bottom machine. I always mention that when I talk about red snapper, so adjust your baits accordingly. They've been caught right now on any kind of high relief structure. Bait stacks are good. Knocker rig or a standard bottom rig with 6 to 8 ounces of lead, a 5/0 circle hook, and 80 pound fluorocarbon leader. Thread fins, cut squid are still the bait of choice, and they're also biting those vertical jigs just as well. And I've got a stud American red snapper from Captain Rob on a recent trip.
Nice, Jeff. I'm looking forward to getting out this weekend over by us and catching a couple of those big things. Hey, I got a question for you real quick.
Me too.
You talk about a bait stack. Some people might not know what that is. What is a bait stack?
When you're out there and you're driving from spot to spot, and you're watching your bottom machine as you drive along, you'll see a little spike every now and then. And those spikes are usually bait stacks on some kind of hard bottom. You can find a lot of hard bottom that doesn't show up. This might be a little small ledge, especially if you're running pretty quick. And those bait stacks are where the fish are going to concentrate over the bait fish are going to concentrate over some kind of hard bottom, some kind of ledge, some kind of little relief. You might not mark the relief, but you mark the bait, and then fishing those bait stacks. If you drop a bait down there and the screen lights up like crazy, you found your red snapper hole.
Nice. Good to know. Good question, Tommy. Hey, Hag, you there?
Yep.
How are we're going scalloping this weekend, so any reports from Ozello or Homosassa?
I've gotten a few from Mario. It's starting to pick up, starting to get good. The storm, some guys didn't get out this week, so hopefully next week I start getting some better scallop reports, but they're starting to show up pretty good numbers. Right now they're a little deep.
All right, well, we'll give you the report next week.
There you go.
Sounds great.
Thanks, Jeff.
Give me some photos.
I will, don't worry.
Here are the Ozella Keys marina hotspots for the Northwest region. Inshore, snook around the beaches and passes. Use pinfish or sardines on that outgoing tide. And offshore, mangrove snapper on high relief structures. In 30 to 70 foot of water, use cut sardines on a knocker rig.
All right, well, we've got one more region to fish, and that's the GARMIN Panhandle region. So stay with us, and we'll be right back here on the Florida
Insider Fishing Report.
Look, Dave, are you relaxing in your Kubota over there?
Are you asleep?
In the house.
It is the best seat in the house. You should have seen him move that yesterday.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Fenwick, the Florida Keys and Key West. Come as you are. The IGFA, Fish for the World. Noble Air Charters, raising the bar yet again. Sportsman's Adventures with Captain Rick Murphy, fishing for adventure. Real legends, everything you need to live life local. And Taco Marine, troll the edge.
It's one of the most ancient forms of hide and seek known to man. And nobody knows how to play the fishing game better than the backcountry guides and offshore captains of the Florida Keys and Key West. ready or not, here we come.
At Florida Coast Equipment, we understand you don't work banker's hours, so neither do we. You have a business to run, you have a family to feed, and you need your machine up and running. So our service team and our parts department will be there. If that means we have to stay late, we'll do it. If we have to start early, we'll do it. Because at the end of the day, you want equipment you can depend on and people you can trust, and we have a service team that will be there to service you.
Pump up the performance in all of your engines. Kick your gas into gear with STARTRON.
I'm Captain Rick Murphy, and I'm a life member of CCA. Why am I so involved with CCA, you ask? Because I want our fisheries to be in better shape for my kids and their kids. CCA is working to ensure the future of recreational fisheries and the rights of recreational anglers. The future of fishing starts today with you. How do you want to leave things with your kids? If you're like me, you'll want to make the right choice and go to joinccaflorida.com right now.
Today's Power Pole tip is about the new Charge Marine Power Station. After the charge is installed in your boat, the key thing to do is to log into the Sea Monster app and let the Charge know what type of batteries you're working with. The Charge is designed to work with gel, lead acid, AGM, even lithium batteries, but the key is letting it know what you got in the boat. So for our trolling motor batteries in this Pathfinder, we've got 2 Odyssey trolling motor batteries. They're big, deep cycle batteries that last all day long. I want to go into the Sea Monster app and let it know exactly how much reserve capacity is in those batteries, and Charge is going to optimize and charge those to the fullest. But for our cranking battery, we've got a different chemistry. It's a lead acid. We will do the drop down and let the Charge know we're working with the lead acid battery on the cranking side, how much reserve capacity is in that, and the Charge is going to optimize a different battery type for your outboard. For more information, go to powerpole.com, and that's your tip of the week.
Brie, man, that is one of the coolest new things I have on my boat. It is
Yeah?
the coolest new thing on my boat this year. It makes life so easy.
Such a big difference.
Oh
huh?
man, it's so awesome. Those Power Pole products, all of them, but that one is really
Customer service is good too.
So good.
All right, when it comes to wading in the Garmin Panhandle region, the possibilities are endless. So let's get Captain Pat Janine on the line to give us our weekend options.
Hey, Brie, I tell you what, that's a fact. There's lots of wading opportunities in the Panhandle. Primarily target trout, redfish, flounder, Spanish mackerel, other bay species. Moving east to west through the region, Port St. Joe has great access into St. Joe Bay from the city side as well as the state park side. You know, there's pretty much unlimited access over there. Good fishing with hard sand and grass bottom. Panama City has 4 bays: St. Andrews, West Bay, North Bay, East Bay. St. Andrews Bay probably has the firmest bottom for wading, but the more interior bays have some really good wading opportunities for trout and redfish, although the bottom may be a bit softer, and also access might be a little bit tougher because of, especially in West Bay, the remoteness of it. Santa Rosa Sound has great access and good shorelines. There's on the south side is the National Seashore. On the north side is also the Live Oaks National State Park. North side of the residential docks, overgrass there's tough access there, but really good fishing around the Tiger Point area. And then finally, Pensacola Bay and Perdido Bay have a lot of public access through the state parks, and also good hard sand bottom for fishing. Moving on, tarpon fishing has been really good throughout the Panhandle, both from the piers and the boats. As Rick Murphy's fished within the last 3 days, he's seen what the potential is up here. The fish are migrating east to west, small schools to big schools. Okaloosa Island Pier, Navarre Pier, the County Pier in Panama City, all are great places to catch tarpon in the Panhandle without a boat. From the piers, swim boats are very effective. Reel them slow and steady. You can blind cast them or just look at rolling fish. With a boat, Crooked Island is a great place to set up, either on the west side or the east side of the inlet. Let the fish swim to you, cast swim bait, live baits, or flies. 40-pound leaders will get more bites, but 50 or 60-pound leaders will survive longer fights. The panhandle tarpon range from 60 to 160 pounds, and there are some pretty big fish around right now. Moving or offshore, there's lots of king mackerel being caught this past week, slow trolling live cigar minnows and herring. Use a wire leader with a stinger rig. Out of Destin, you don't have to go far. Just out there by the sea buoy, you'll see all the bait in the morning on the incoming tide. Catch your bait and troll them right there. But you can also move out a little bit further over some structure, some bottom structure, either natural or artificial. The kings are averaging 12 pounds, but there are some smokers being caught as well. And then finally, deep dropping for tile fishing groupers has been very dependable, 600 to 1,000 feet. For tile fish, look for that mud bottom at 900 feet. For the groupers, just like the shallow water groupers, they're very much structure oriented. So look for some hard bottom or the Gulf pipeline. In 600 to 700 foot of water, use electric reels, multi-hook setups, a light source at the swivel, and glow beads at the hooks. Cut squid or minnows are great for the bait, but cut bonita will definitely stay on the hook better. Deep dropping is a great way to put some good eating fish in the box.
All right, thanks, Pat. Here are the blue water outrigger hotspots for the Panhandle region. Inshore, Okaloosa Island Pier, early morning for tarpon on white swim baits. And then offshore, king mackerel, slow trolling live baits over nearshore structure. Those king mackerel, this is the time of year to catch them all over the state.
Apparently so, yeah, right? Have you been up to Destin or Panhandle region to fish lately?
I've red fished up there a long time ago, but I've not been up there in a long time.
Not recently.
I love fishing there though, it's a great place.
I have not been up there to fish in about 6 years.
Oh, Pat.
I gotta get up there with Pat.
Gotta call Pat. Yeah.
I know, I wanna go offshore with him. All right, we won't keep you waiting any longer because the reports are in and it's time to get out there for your weekend catch fest. But hang in there just a bit longer to see what we're fishing for next week, which Tommy won't be here for.
Oh,
I know you're gonna wanna say it when we come back, so you'll just have to wait to hear how Tommy says what we're catching next week. We'll be right back. Top secret.
Your time on the water is precious. You return season after season to make unforgettable memories, fight a few fish, reconnect with friends, and recenter yourself. If you count on having this time, you need an outboard you can count on to power it. That's why boaters stay with Yamaha for the long run, for life. They know reliability starts here.
We are for those who know. Those who know that opportunity is nothing without preparation. Those who know that the right gear can make or break a day. Born out of a need for reliability, tested and proven on the Miss Brit charter fleet. From terminal tackle to all your live bait needs, whether you're fishing for fun or looking to win a tournament, R&R Tackle has what you need to stay ready.
All right, here we go. Next week, we are talking
Got me a marlin.
Yeah! Got me a marlin. And you know what? Dave is definitely not going to be shy next week, are you, Dave?
No, I like to talk about marlin.
Marlin,
something I know about.
I think he knows something you know about. You only know about marlin.
We talked about it last night. What's the biggest marlin? I thought it was black marlin, but
it's a blue marlin.
It's a blue
The
marlin.
biggest blue marlin ever caught was 1,800 pounds, and it ate a 200-pound tuna
What?
in Hawaii. Correct. The black marlin, they reach 1,000 pounds quite a bit more often, probably. But we get to see those more often because they're a continental shelf species. They stay close to the shore, whereas blue marlins, they're a purely pelagic species. They will just take off and swim right across the ocean. So we find those big blue marlins around little islands and stuff out in the middle of the ocean.
The main thing we got to take away from that is, got me a marlin.
Got me a marlin. I still need to get me a marlin. It's still
Me
on my
too.
bucket list. Really, you too?
Yep.
Okay, I don't feel bad anymore. All right, well, thanks for tuning in, guys. Tommy,
Thanks
great
for having
job.
me.
Thanks for being
Thank you.
here. We'll see you next week. Go catch those fish. Bye.
See ya.